Okay, so this is for the week 2 assignments. The first thing that we did in class was the Plinko game. It's made exactly how we did it in class, and then I decided to add my own textures to it just for fun. I just drew some stuff and learned how to add that to game objects. If we play it, I set a 1 second interval between ball spawns, and they do spawn randomly. The points also track correctly if I could score 1. And the score shows in the top left, so that's 2. And let's just score 1 more, maybe. I'm not so lucky. Well, this is going great. There we go, 3. So that's 2 and 3, it makes 5. So that's the Plinko game. And alright, so now for the Pong game, which was the main assignment from this week. I'm going to go over all of the requirements for it and show that I've done them all. So for implementing the control scheme, I decided to use the new input system for the 7 points on that. And I set that up, you can see right here. So I have a paddle action map with a left and right paddle action. And their button, the action type is a button, and then there's W and S for the left paddle and up and down arrows for the right paddle. And then for the additional 3 points, I am using a single paddle script, which works for both of the paddles, which we can see here. So this is the entire script, and there's an on move left paddle and an on move right paddle, which if we go into the actual paddles inspector, we can see in the events, because we're invoking Unity events, the left paddle is using the left paddle object and calling on move left paddle, and the right paddle in the events is using the right paddle object and calling on move right paddle. So that is the control scheme requirements. Now for the ball behavior, I decided to use the 7-point approach, which was if you're using the collision to give the ball predictable Pong trajectory. We can see that right here in my on collision enter function. I have a check if it's if the ball's colliding with a player tagged game object, which would be the paddles. Let's see, so there's an impact position. This is how we get the trajectory from the ball colliding with the paddle, and so we know what angle to spit it out at. So we're taking the position of the ball minus the position of the paddle, and then we're dividing that by the bound size of the paddle divided by 2. So this will give us our position in relative to the half of the paddle that we hit on. So if we hit on the top half of the paddle, this will give us that, and then if we hit on the bottom half of the paddle, we'll get the impact position for that. We then use that to update the z velocity based on the impact position in the previous frame z velocity, which I had to do because on collision for that single frame, the velocity of the ball is 0. So I ended up keeping track of the previous frame's positions in the fixed update function, and I was able to get that to work correctly. I also increment the ball speed, which is in the additional points. So the first one was incrementing the speed every time the paddle hits the ball during one play, and it does reset after a goal. So that's right here. Ball speed is that. And then for resetting, we have spawn ball method, which is resetting the ball speed. And then the other additional point is if when it starts, it sends the ball to the player that just got scored on, which I'll show you with that working. I can actually just show that real quick. So if left scores, the ball will shoot towards the right side. Yep. Okay, and then for the scoring requirements, I am keeping track of scoring from each player on the top of the screen using a canvas text mesh pro object. So if one of the players scores, then it updates it up here. I'm also writing to the console each time a player scores, and what the score is, and then I write game over, left or right wins in the console when there is a win. That's going to take a minute to get to, so I'll adjust the code just to show that. Regarding the extra credit options, I did add my own music and audio effects. So there's a background like arcadey song just playing on loop, and then there's a hit marker sound every time the ball hits the paddle. So I'm hoping this will pick up the audio. I don't think it's... Okay. And then I also, my own creative twist I added was the textures and also a restart button for the textures. They have multiple base maps, so I set that up correctly, and you can tell with this one, like there's a height map on it and stuff, so it makes it look like it is like a ground object. There's a marble texture on the ground and like a granite texture on the paddles. Okay, and then I'm just gonna change the code for the sake of time. Let's see, ball. I'm gonna initialize the score to 9, just so we can show it winning quicker. Okay, and you can see it, you'll see on the screen also in the console. So I'll just get the left player to win for this case. So left player wins is shown on the screen as a canvas object, and then we have a restart button here, and the console also displays game over, left wins. So if I click that restart button, it's going to reload the scene from the start. This time I'll get the right paddle to win, just to show that that does work correctly. I should have not done that. Cool, so right player wins, and then there's a restart button, scores all updating correctly and all that. And yeah, so that's my Pong game. I hope you liked it. Thank you.